Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech, protected.
All right, greetings, folks. I'm Alex Stradling, and this is a Fact TV special presentation. If you're a horror film lover and you live in this area, we have a great show for you today. We have three filmmakers who have come to the show to talk about their new project, Nightmar at Nana's. And currently, they're in the phase of raising funds for this film to be able to produce it. So we're going to get into the details. We're going to get into what this film is about. We're going to talk to the filmmakers. And we're going to encourage you to go to their, what's the page? I'm sorry. Let's introduce
it. Seed and Spark.
Seed and Spark page, and support local filmmaking and see the kind of goodies that they're going to give you if you help support them in their horror film production. So let's just start off with everyone's introduction.
My name is Sam McFarland. I'm one of the producers, the AD, and I play the character of Greg in the film.
I'm Cameron Lloyd. I'll be playing the character of Nick in the film.
I'm Stephanie Ward, and I'm playing the character of Stella in the film.
Great. So I want to know, what's this film about that you're trying to raise money for? Kind of the short thing. And what inspired you or brought you guys together to make this film? So
you want to take the synopsis and I'll take the...
Yeah. So the film centers around these two brothers who, total metalheads that have these dreams of making it big. And then somewhere along the way, one brother kind of takes the shift away from that metalhead dream and tries to get on track, while the other one's kind of stuck in this past. They're working together to try to make it to the show, to sabotage Stella here. Mm-hmm. And along the way, they find their way into a gaggle of unruly characters, including Nana. They end up at Nana's house, and there is a stalker in the woods that leads to a lot of bloody fun.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so is this, just to sort of extend off of that, what's the vibe that you're going for in this horror film?
Yeah, it's sort of campy horror. I think the inspiration is from really authentic horror, beautiful cinema, along with sort of the 1980s slasher vibes, with a quick-witted script that brings a lot of laughs to the project as well.
More Evil Dead 2 than Evil Dead 1.
Great. We love Evil Dead 2. Yeah. Cool. So tell me about... we can go down the line. We'll start with you. Tell me about your experiences in terms of as a filmmaker, or in what specific role that you'll be partaking in the film.
Great. So yeah, I'm an actress in this film. I've never made a film before, but I've been in a bunch of them. I do a lot of B-horror films. I love horror in general. I think it's a really fun medium, and I think for the indie scene, it's churning out some of the best stuff in the genre these days. So I've done a lot of final girls in my day, but I'm really excited about some of the gore and stuff in this one. It takes a lot of creativity to make horror on a small budget, and I love seeing what people do.
And what's your role going to be specifically?
I'm playing Stella, and she is some would say mean, I would say misunderstood woman who kind of maybe is taking over the band that Nick used to be in. I think, Stella was right maybe, but...
He was on his way out.
Yeah.
Stella's no nonsense.
She's a bit of an antagonist, but I think the character is well developed in the script, which I really appreciate.
Great.
So Nick, I'm one of the two main brothers. I am the kind of stuck in the past metalhead who his main desire is to try to make it big in metal and hopefully win back over the affection of his brother, who has moved past that. He's kind of a loser. He's kind of a mooch. He's kind of a bummer of a dude. But he's one of those hapless idiots that you can't help but root for.
Yeah, so I'm the producer on this project, as well as playing a small role in it. But the writer and director of this, his name is Austin Rice, and this is really his baby, his brainchild. And it comes from, so Austin Rice has been making films in the area for a decade now, over that. And his last projects were called the Little Balzac movies, which had sort of similar, in some ways, character as the lead role. This project originated from a Little Balzac continuation. We discovered, Austin sort of came to the terms of like, it wasn't going to fit into the Little Balzac universe, but maybe still exists in somewhat of the same space. So he sort of was able to take those initial roots of those sort of action B-movie things, bring it into this space, and came up with Nightmare Nanas.
Yeah, if you're a Balzac fan, that is so weird to say that.
If you're a Balzac fan,
if you're a little Balzac fan, there
Little
may be
yeah.
a couple of Easter eggs in this one for you, so
exactly.
check it out.
yeah. And talking about Little Balzac, that was what, pretty successful. The first two. How many? There was 1 and 2. And how did 2 go for you? Were you part of the number 2?
I was, yeah. I played Florida in number 2. He's a psychotic bath salt addicted heistman who is kind of based off the idea of Florida Man. You know, you read the papers and Florida Man, you know, dances with alligator in preschool or whatever. And that was a blast. You know, I think it was this progression from Balzac 1 to really stepping it up production-wise, script-wise. Like, it was much sharper and snappier, a bigger budget. And then you start to see some of these effects that are going to be coming into this one with, there was one scene, I'm not going to spoil it, but after a shootout, I had to rearrange my tum. Check it out.
Get it back in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think just piggybacking on that, I think Austin really sees this next project as another pretty big stepping stone for size of production, sort of just scope of the entire piece is really the most ambitious thing that he's done before, which is exciting.
Yeah, and I mean, from what I know about the project, it's a very interesting project in terms of, like, you know, sort of getting creatives in the local area to be able to make this film. So, I mean, just for the audience to know out there, this film is being made by folks, you know, in the Bells Falls, Brattleboro, you know, New York region. This isn't all Hollywood coming in here, and you know, this is a classic sort of low budget filmmaking, but done, you know, it was my favorite kind of filmmaking, done with like a passion and a heart to it, and in terms of just really sort of, you know, it's a story. It's going to be a story that's just going to be embedded, you know, within the culture of our area. So
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's key. That's key for folks, and you get to see, like, you know, how these people shoot your local towns. You know,
I think it's really cool too, because, you know, Austin has he's had a pretty cool little bubble that has grown and grown, this really tight crew. And every film he starts reaching out and you start to see new faces. Like, I'm really excited to be working with Stephanie, who's, this is our first time working together. This is your first Austin Rice production. Yeah. And he's, you know, he's got people from New York that are coming. So it's a much bigger scope than we've seen so far.
Yeah. And talk about the special effects and who's going to be doing the special effects and so on and so forth. Does anyone have anything?
Dave Zay is going to be doing special effects. Have you worked with Dave before?
I have not. No,
Okay.
but
Cool. I'm excited.
yeah.
I think he did oh gosh, I wish I knew the name.
Yorkie Werewolf?
Yes, the
Yeah,
Yorkie Werewolf. Which I've seen clips of, and man, that guy knows how to work with blood and guts.
And also a Vermont production. Yeah, Yorkie Werewolf. Yeah.
And he's from Vermont, or from where is he from? Do you know?
I'm not sure where he's from. I know that Yorkie Werewolf was a Burlington
Vermont,
production.
Okay.
If you check out our Seed and Spark page, it has
all that information there.
Yeah.
And do you guys? I mean, I know everyone's they're in the fundraising phase right now, trying to sort of get money to be able to make this film. Do you have ideas of what locations that you're going to be shooting in already? Is there?
Yeah, we have some ideas that we're looking at a little sort of in the middle of the state. But like you said, it's sort of, we need what camera am I looking? We need your money to get the best locations. We need your money to get the best locations.
Please.
So really is sort of dictated by if we hit our goal, and then if we hit our reach goals, that's going to sort of tell us how far away we can go from different places and get, a doper Nana's house interior, or, a better car crash scene, or yada, yada, yada. So yeah, I mean, we have some ideas, but we don't want to put the carriage in front of the horse at this point.
Yeah. And I think that, Austin, no matter where we film, Austin wants to keep it that feel of New England, Vermont, creepy woods, so even if we're shooting in Massachusetts and Nana's house is there, it's still got that Vermont mentality, that Vermont setting.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, Austin's very serious about making Vermont look beautiful in this project. It's something that he's talked a lot about in the cinematography, and sort of, I think I would say it's a bit of a departure from the classic horror B movies, in that it's really going to have, they're looking for really stunning cinematography for this project. And that's really a big goal for them.
Great. So let's talk about what your goals are in terms of the fundraising, and we can go right down the line. Like, what do you, what are different options for people, and how can people contribute to this project?
We are about halfway through our Seed and Spark fundraising goal, so that's really, really exciting. We're running that through January, so there's lots of time to get in there and make a contribution. The cool thing is, indie films run on donations these days, but the great thing is that you put into it, but you also get stuff back. So you can get copies of the film. There's tickets to an advanced screening, which is it's still in the editing process, which is really cool. There's larger options for a filmmaking lesson and things like that. So there's some really unique things on the Seed and Spark to get the opportunity to have or do.
Yeah. And, it'll cover a lot of things from catering to the cast, what is that?
Crew.
Cast and crew pay. It'll cover special effects. And we have a 80s scream queen that is in talks right now.
Oh, great.
So currently we have to reach a certain amount to get her on board, but we're really hoping, if you like horror and you like 80s B horror, you have definitely seen her before.
To play the titular Nana.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Very important.
Yeah.
Too bad we don't get a little tease on that, but that will be interesting. That's great.
It's hush hush.
You gotta help us hit our limit, and then you can
Yeah,
find
yeah,
out who
and
that
then-
is. No one will ever know if we don't hit our goals.
It will be a big announcement.
Yeah.
Currently, what's the goal? What's the goal that you're trying to reach?
Just above 36,000, and we just crossed over 19 today, I believe.
Yeah.
And how many people have contributed?
Ooh,
I'd have to look at the page.
Yeah.
Oh, more than one.
Yeah.
Well, definitely.
She's my dad.
Yeah.
This chick.
Definitely good.
Yeah, no, we've been hosting smaller events around. It really is a grassroots thing. So it's getting people out, coming to see. $5 is a fine donation if that's what you can afford. So it's literally whatever anybody can give, it's going to help make this film.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah, we had a really fun table read about a week. Was that a week ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, a week ago. That we put on in Brattleboro that I think people really enjoyed.
Yeah.
And I know that you just did a screening of both Lil Balzac movies too.
Yeah.
So it was fun for this one. So there's been a lot of public involvement, which is really nice to see.
Yeah.
Are you guys planning on doing more of the readings for folks, or is that just kind of a special thing?
I'm not sure. I mean, I think we're going to sort of, if we are getting closer to the end of the deadline and we need to do a final push, we'll probably do a couple more events in the area.
Yeah.
So definitely keep an eye out for that.
I'm sure Austin, Angus, and you are scheming different ways to get people to come out and get involved.
Yeah, Austin has been on a couple podcasts, called into the Tim Heidecker podcast recently, chatting with him for a little while, which was great. So we're doing a media push. It's great.
Now, if people do donate, do you guys have any options where you'll be like a news feed about the production and so on and so forth, or daily
On the Seed and Spark, I believe there is a news feed.
Yeah, there's a Seed and Spark newsfeed live, and then once you donate, you'll be put onto an email list and have updates as the project goes forward.
Wait, I know it's tough when you're shooting a film.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a separate role. I always had the idea to offer people to pay for the film, what you guys are doing, and then the technology today, if you got an internet connection, it could get the live feed of the
set
performances on set.
Yeah.
Just that, you're not doing every scene, but they could just kind of see, how our performance or the reels go, and just kind of tap into it and just kind of watch what's going on.
Yeah.
Might be,
I'm sure there will be a lot of behind the scenes footage.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part of shooting any film. It's just the madness that happens. Pardon me. Behind the scenes, so
and especially with the blood and gore.
Oh, yeah.
On this one, the BTS will be really good.
It's one thing to see somebody being like and then another to see them laughing
holding
immediately after.
holding the exploded version of their own head, giving it all the kiss.
It's the best.
Yeah, I mean we're all filmmakers. We've all been on film sets and made our own films. But I think that's the important thing is the the cool things that can happen on set. I mean they're long. I mean, in tough days. I mean it's hurry up and wait a lot of times. Smaller crews, you got to be a man of or woman of many hats. But I always find there's always those surprising moments. Like you have this idea that, okay, this is how we're going to shoot it. And something always comes along and, you have to adapt. And then that adaptation sort of renders something better than what you expected to it. And this happens to even famous filmmakers. If you ever watch them, they talk about it. Spielberg had mentioned a bunch of times how he used to do storyboards, but he didn't do storyboards anymore because there's a lot of times where things happen and you have to adapt and you got to lock yourself in there. But is there any as filmmakers, anything that you can talk about in terms of the stuff that you've worked on where something surprised you, where you had to adapt to something?
Yeah, I mean, I can speak to it a little bit. So the way that I know Austin is through, we just finished shooting a feature film in the Putney, Vermont area over this past year. And it was an extraordinarily weather-based film. We had narratively in the script a rainstorm coming in and out at one point. We had one moment that I can really think of is in the autumn shoot, which I think is one of the more stunning images, is we're hiking up to the lookout point where the scene is to be set. And, it's just the crew and the cast hiking up the mountain together. And we hit a really beautiful patch of foliage, set up the camera, went for it. It was overcast that day. As she was walking down the fully covered path of leaves, the sun poked out as she was making the turn, and it sort of created this effect that she was walking out of clouds and into the sunlight as the camera turned with her. So it's those little sort of stunning moments that we didn't have that shot anywhere in the script. We'd sort of given up the fact that we were going to have sun that day. And you just roll the camera and see what happens. And after you hit record, it's sort of up to big guy.
I think working with Austin too, the thing I love most about him is that, he's got this great idea of how things should turn out. But he's never married to them. So throwing an idea at him or saying, oh, let's try this in the script. He's like, even if he's like, I don't know if that's quite going to work, he always gives it a shot. I loved rewatching Lil Balzac 2 the other day because there's a couple scenes in the movie where it was just the spur of the moment idea. And I was like, we got to try this. And he was like, let's do it. And then it made it in the final cut. So he's one of those dudes that is not going to push any idea away or a change to dialogue or an action. He really embraces that, and it makes it working with him so much fun and so relaxing.
Cool.
I'm really excited to work with Austin too, like for those reasons. One of the last projects I worked on was called Graveyard Shark, and it had a big shark man monster, and so
it's exactly what it sounds.
Yes, it's a shark man. It's very stupid.
It's amazing.
But there's like all these plans in the script of like what we're gonna do with the graveyard shark. Well, actually, when you're wearing like a 50-pound rubber suit, what you can do is different than what you dreamed. So I'm really excited to see, like, whenever I read a horror script and I see, like, this guy gets his head ripped out and his spinal column, I'm like, I cannot wait to see what that ends up being and how
Find
it's
out.
done. So I'm really excited for that and how those sort of things get adapted in the moment.
That's great. Yeah. Cool. So, yeah, we're getting close to time here. I just want you guys to, kind of final pitch, but also tell me what's the, I mean, I know I asked this in the beginning, but what drew you to this, to participating in Nightmare and Nanas and being a part of this?
Okay, why?
Yeah.
I was really excited about the concept of B-horror movies are just, again, got such a soft spot for them. I think they're great showcases for character actors, and I think this script has really strong character archetypes, which I think a lot of like contemporary, very serious horror doesn't have. So it's a really fun exploration with really strong characters, and it's really goofy and self-aware. So it just checked all my boxes.
Totally. Wow. Yeah, like all of that. And, again, just the progression of seeing Austin grow as this filmmaker. I was really excited to return for Full Balls Act 3. And when he said that we're going to take it in a new direction, I was just even more excited. I think there is a limit in what you can do with certain characters. And I think that this movie is pushing beyond that limit. Like Stephanie said, there are really great characters, and I love being a character actor, but there is this new emotional side that you really have to tap into. I think for all of the characters, even those like super goofy, like backwoods, serial killer, there are these little moments of like humanity that really shine through with this script, and I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, I just think I want to help Austin do whatever he wants anytime that is. It's just the filmmaking industry can be a really cruddy place. And when you come across someone with such a kind heart and such a passion for what they're doing, you want to elevate them as much as you can, because that's going to bring everyone else around them up as well. I think making film in the New England area, specifically Vermont, is tough. And when we get projects like this off the ground, it only means better things to come down the road.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Austin really is just the sweetest.
Just the sweetest.
He is just the sweetest.
Cool. Thank you guys for coming. And I just want to say to the audience that, like he was saying, if you live out in LA, the filmmaking business sucks. It's a cruddy business. But these aren't LA people. These are people that live right here in this region. They're just like you and I. They have a skill set. They want to make a film. They want to make a funny, great 80s genre film, and they need your help. And you're not supporting some, crappy Hollywood actor. You're supporting a crappy local actor. They're great actors, but people that want, because it's tough for us in this area, there's very limited opportunities. But most people, they don't want to go live in the crummy city of LA. They don't want to have to suck up to people and be non-genuine. They want to live here in their own community. They want to be in an area that they love, and they want to make films for people that they live with, for their friends and neighbors. So please, go click the link, support this film, donate 5, donate 10, donate 20, donate 25. If you're some rich dude and you got 20 grand that you need to offset because
we'll take that
what?
too.
Guess what? You got a lot of money and Uncle Sam's going to take some of that.
Right.
Why not just give it to these local filmmakers if you love horror? So
that's
anyways,
tax break.
That's my pitch. Support local filmmakers and support our artists and our creatives in our area. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.